There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yayo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonko table. That is the voice of Grandmaster Hoop coming at you from Los Alamos, New Mexico, the site of the testing for the first atomic bomb, because that's right, folks. We're here to talk about Oppenheimer. That's right. Oppenheimer, the latest from acclaimed director Christopher Nolan. It's a biographical thriller about the life of J. Robert Oppenheimer, who was the theoretical physicist who was pivotal in developing nuclear weapons for the Manhattan Project in World War II, and thus ushering in the atomic age. You can thank Wikipedia for that. I just read that off Wikipedia.
Wow, I thought
wonderful.
I thought you had your Oppenheimer studies all lined up. Fantastic.
I don't. There's a lot going on in Oppenheimer. I'm going to be having my Wikipedia handy. There's a lot happening here. There's a lot going on, and we're here to deep dive that. We're here to review this film, what we thought and everything, and get into some of the nitty gritty of what's going on. But of course, folks, with me as always, you already heard him, is Dr. Jace Attorney. Dr. Jace Attorney, were you blown away by Oppenheimer?
Oh, get it?
Yes, that was intentional.
Oh.
I came up with that one.
Of course. I indeed was blown away, and I am more than ready for the Nolanverse that our boy Christopher Nolan is setting up, because this is his version of the MCU that's going to be built up. We're going to be getting a potential JFK sequel for the space program. We got mentions of Albert Einstein. You know, he appears in like an MCU cameo. I mean, this is it. This is it. I mean, I bet you in this Nolanverse, we're probably going to get like MLK, maybe some references to Malcolm X. Like, he's building this up to be an insane non-fictional cinematic universe. And I know you're excited because, you know, you have your foot in the door with another cinematic universe already.
I do?
Yeah.
What?
The Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, no, this isn't. No, stop. Enough. I have no idea what you're getting at. You sound absolutely crazy. No, I don't think there's.
So you're not ready.
I don't think there's going to be a Nolan verse, and that's okay. But if he continues to make biographical, non-fictional films, I would say go ahead, because
was this
coming
his
out of
first
this
one?
film? Is it his first biographical film? I think so. I do not know this film following. That's one of his. I think that's his first film to date. I don't know if that's a biographical. I'm going to assume it's not. Yeah, I don't think it is. I think this is his first. Well, Dunkirk. Dunkirk is
wow,
relatively a biographical.
I guess
film.
it depends, because that's more. Dunkirk's more like of an event, right? Like a non-fictional event versus what Oppenheimer is, like focusing in on a real person.
Right. Yeah. Dunkirk is definitely, historical fiction. I don't think any of the characters were actually, they weren't based on it. I mean, they're based on actual soldiers, but I don't think anybody was playing an actual person in real life. So
right.
That's probably the closest. Yeah. The closest we get is Dunkirk. Unless, Interstellar, maybe he went forward in time, came back, and boom, made Interstellar. Maybe. I don't know.
Tenet.
Tenet. Maybe he's just moving backwards. Maybe that's the case. I think that was the premise of Tenet. But sure, yeah. Oppenheimer is here. Oppenheimer closes out the historical 2023 event known as Barbenheimer. Earlier, yes, last Thursday we covered the Barbie movie. We made our choice. We drew our line in the sand, and we said we're gonna watch Barbie first. We've watched Oppenheimer yesterday in IMAX, as intended. Granted, there's only select IMAX theaters that truly capture the quality Christopher Nolan wanted you to experience. Ours, we got the short end, but still quite the experience. Dr. Jason Turney, Barbie or Oppenheimer, real quick?
Barbie, easily. Barbie.
Wow.
Without a doubt.
Wow.
Without a doubt.
Wow.
Dance the Night just eats out Oppenheimer. Dance the Night.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
I had more fun. Listen, this is not to say that I did not like Oppenheimer. I liked the movie. I think it was a good time. But let me tell you the number of times I kept checking my watch to see how much time was left. I think the first time I checked it was at the 1 hour mark. I'm like,
wow.
Oh, goddamn, we got 2 hours left. And I don't know. I know clearly you have a different take on Oppenheimer as a film and as a Nolan fanatic.
I would not call myself a fanatic. I would not say that.
The Dark Knight Rises is the greatest Batman film ever made.
I never said that. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But we could get into that later when we're done talking about this film. We can talk about where this ranks among the Nolan films.
Okay.
I mean, real quick, 3, 6, 9, 12 Nolan films. This is the 12th Nolan film.
God, I haven't seen most of them, to be honest.
You've seen a good amount.
I've seen a good amount, just not. I haven't seen Memento. I haven't seen Insomnia.
My cutoff is The Prestige. I'm sorry, Batman Begins. Everything after Batman Begins, I have seen of Nolan.
Okay, after Batman Begins, I've seen everything except for Tenet. That's the only one I haven't seen.
So you still haven't seen Tenet? Okay.
I still haven't seen Tenet.
All right, that's okay.
And I heard you had a great IMAX experience with Tenet, and you were encouraging me to watch it.
We did not watch it in IMAX. We watched it in RPX, which I think is even louder than Tenet. I mean, I'm sorry, than IMAX. And let me tell you, what a mistake. And it was corrected in this film. And we'll get into it. We'll get into it. But yes, Barbenheimer is complete with Oppenheimer, the 12th Nolan film. Let's get into this film. Yes, and I agree with you. I liked Oppenheimer a lot. I enjoyed it thoroughly. It is quite the length. It is exactly 180 minutes. I think the credits roll at the 2 hour and 53 minute mark, which is okay. That's okay. But I don't know, man. Christopher Nolan has a way with storytelling, and and as we continue talking about it, we're gonna get into what works, what does not work. But this is straight from the man. The screenplay is by Christopher Nolan, based on the book American Prometheus: The Triumph and Tragedy of J. Robert Oppenheimer, which is a biography on him. So they're pulling right from the source. And yeah, I mean, it's funny between this movie and Barbie, because Barbie has so many actors and actresses in that movie. This movie too has god dang near everybody in this movie. Half this movie is just looking for people you recognize, or you're like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
Oh wow, I knew Green Goblin. Green Goblin was in there.
Can you be a little more specific? Which one?
Come on. Out am I? Clearly not that one.
To be clear, it's not Willem Dafoe. Yes,
It's
Willem Dafoe
the
is not
other
in this
one,
movie.
the Amazing
Dane-
Spider-Man's Green Goblin.
Dane DeHaan, also from Chronicle.
Chronicle, right?
Yes, he's here. Anybody else? Was there a gotcha? Oh wow, they're in this movie too.
I feel like there should have been. There was a guy I literally thought was Alfred Molina for a second, and I'm like, wait, is that him? No, it's not. It wasn't him. And I couldn't tell you what the name of the character was.
Oh god.
I really could not tell. That maybe that goes into one of my reasons why I'm not too big on the film Oppenheimer. The names. I could not tell you the names of any of the characters outside of the titular character and maybe Robert Downey Jr.'s character. Goodness, Strauss. You see it. I don't know. But outside of, I mean, obviously Matt Damon, Robert Downey Jr. I feel like there should have been more.
It's quite the collection.
It is.
Cast. Right off rip, looking at, there are 2 Best Actor Oscar winners that I know of. Rami Malek is in this film.
Rami Malek, yes, he was. Okay, yeah, okay, I remember him.
Yep, Rami Malek. Casey Affleck is in this film.
Who's Casey Affleck?
Casey Affleck, Ben Affleck's brother, won for that film that the name escapes me because I never actually watched it. He was playing that one. He was playing one of the military officers who was out for Oppenheimer. Like he was trying to get him. Yes. Manchester by the Sea is what he won for. But yeah, there's just so many people in this movie. And mind you, they are all playing real people. I think the only fictional character there is Alden Ehrenreich's character, who was interviewing or talking to Strauss's character, Robert Downey Jr.'s.
Oh, the young guy, I guess.
Yeah, the young Han Solo film.
Oh, that's Han. Okay, wow.
Yes.
From the Han Solo film.
Yes. Cocaine Bear.
He was in Cocaine Bear. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a stacked cast. It is a stacked cast.
Oh, Huey from The Boys.
Huey is here. Jack Quaid. Jack Quaid is here. Yes.
He didn't have too many. Josh Peck. Megan.
Dare I say? I think Josh Peck had a really pivotal person he was playing.
Well, okay. He played a pivotal scene in the movie, and that's where it ends.
They gave him one of the biggest moments.
That's where it ends. Like, sir, you only got like 3 lines. I don't care.
I think a lot of people, when you look at this cast, they jumped for joy to be on a Christopher Nolan flick.
Yeah.
They said it don't matter. It don't matter.
What was it that Matt Damon said? He told like his wife or something, like because he's like retired. No. He said if he goes into retirement from acting, there's one person he would get out of retirement for to film something.
Oh.
Which was Chris Nolan. Yeah, Matt Damon.
Oh, did he say that?
He did say that. Yes.
Okay.
Cool. Which it made me think he was retired, but I'm like, no, Matt Damon's not retired. He's got too young-ish to retire. But I'm pretty sure that's what he said. If he was retired, and the only person that could pull him out of retirement would be Chris Nolan to film a movie.
I can see why. Christopher Nolan. I mean, say what you will about this film. I think the storytelling is on point here. I think the cast is excellent. Real quick, the musical score. Ludwig Göransson. I'm telling you right now, give this man best original score. Which he's already won. For? Do you know what he's previously won for?
For
Black Panther.
Am I supposed to be impressed?
What? This is problematic.
I couldn't even tell you a single track from this movie.
Go back and listen to it.
What the boom, 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 boom. What? That's all I heard.
You are doing it a disservice. Here, maybe you'll like this. Or would it sound nicer to you if I told you he also did the score for Venom? Does that help you?
Venom,
Venom.
Venom. Oh, he sang that. He sang that piece.
That's Eminem. That's Eminem.
Oh, so
But
he
did
wrote
the
it for
score.
Eminem.
Huh?
So he wrote it for Eminem.
No, he just did the score for the Venom movie.
That was the
Does
only good.
help you?
That was the only good music in Venom.
What I don't recognize the music of it. The point is, he kills it here. He kills it here. Yes, look here, listen. He kills it here. I'm about to be on this Oppenheimer hype train.
You need to relax,
gotta bring me,
man.
You got to bring me back down for our listeners, okay? If need be, all right.
This
So
is not
Ludwig
the
Göransson.
one.
Yeah, you got to be the one. Cinematography done by Hoyt van Hoytema. Again, this guy's been a Nolan mainstay. He did Interstellar, did Dunkirk, did Tenet. They're a match made in heaven. Okay. And goodness, we got to talk about the man himself, Cillian Murphy. All right, as J.
Peaky
Robert
Blinders.
Oh, so you watch Peaky Blinders?
Absolutely not. I do not watch that garbage. No,
What?
no,
You better
no
watch what
offense.
you're saying.
No offense to our Peaky Blinders fans. Okay, no. The reason why I call it garbage is just because I've seen it more in memes than the actual source material, and the memes always just make me wince and cringe every time I see them. So I'm like, ugh, I don't want to watch this. And this is what people are. I don't know. It's funny memes, but at the same time, people are posting them unironically, and so that's unfortunate. But Peaky Blinders, right. Peaky Blinders. He's from Peaky Blinders fame. That's really all that I know him from. I feel like I've seen his face in other projects.
Here, we're about to have some fun. You ready?
Okay.
All right. Cillian Murphy is what you call a Nolan mainstay. Nolan he loves reusing actors. Okay.
Where is
Michael Caine?
Where is Christian Bale?
Didn't make the cut.
He never makes the cut.
What do you mean? He's got I think at least 4 Nolan films. Oh, okay, fine. You asking why Cillian Murphy is here as Robert Oppenheimer? Go look up what Robert Oppenheimer actually looked up.
Oh,
in real
no,
life.
I saw it. Yeah. It was something where Chris Nolan said, like, oh, God damn, if I'm picking someone to play Oppenheimer, it's Cillian Murphy.
They're identical. Not identical, but
Relatively.
pretty spot on. Cillian Murphy, Christopher Nolan films. He's Scarecrow in all 3 Batman films.
Oh my God, that's right. That's right. That's right.
Would you like to
That's
see my
right.
mask?
I completely forgot. That is so
That's-
funny.
That's him.
That's
him.
funny. Wow.
Inception. He was the man who was incepted.
Sure.
He
I'll
is the
trust-
guy they wish to enact Inception on in Inception. He's the son of the millionaire. They want him to basically drop his father's company and do his own thing.
What year did Inception come out?
2010.
That was the last time I saw it.
Goodness, come on, man. Jeez Louise.
I don't rewatch movies 8 times. I'm sorry.
Do I have that Inception poster in my room? It's in the hallway. I love Inception. Okay.
Right.
Maybe I have somewhat of a bias for Nolan films. Whatever.
You
either
could
way.
say you're a Nolan
I don't know what
fanatic.
you call a Nolan. I am not a fanatic. I am not.
Do you
a
have an
fanatic.
Inception
So,
poster?
I do have an Inception poster.
Interesting.
I think you need more than just a Inception poster.
I feel like
to
that
qualify.
solidifies it.
Fine, whatever. Okay. Cillian Murphy's here. He's the guy. damn near identical. Did you enjoy his performance
Yeah,
as Robert Oppenheimer?
I think the performances across the board were really good. Obviously, as Cillian Murphy as Oppenheimer was the person that stole the show the most, but I feel like everyone pulled their weight. Emily Blunt as Kitty, right? Kitty.
Yep.
Robert Downey Jr. as Strauss. And that's all. Oh, Matt Damon. Matt Damon
yeah.
as the general. You know what's funny? I think I was probably more invested in the Matt Damon scenes when he's involved. Because I think, as weird as it sounds, I think when he appears, the movie becomes more grounded and it kind of explains itself to me better. I mean, again with the names, man, if you don't catch these names, you're gonna be so confused as to what the hell is going on. You better know. And again, it goes back to that huge cast that you're talking about. There is such a damn huge cast that you need to know the names, the faces of who they're associated with. I'm telling you now, I remember Green Goblin was in the movie. I couldn't tell you his name.
No.
At all.
I don't think I could tell you. I could probably tell you 1/4 of the cast and their names. That's it.
Insane.
It's that big of a cast. There's that
Insane.
many. And like everybody in this film has a pivotal like moment, a scene, or even they just allude to their historical significance in this film. This might be the most biographical film I've ever seen.
The most biographical? What do you mean by that?
They were dropping names of people that who may have played such a tiny little role in this film, and yet in the grand scheme of history, they did so much more for their respective countries, for the progression of science and all that.
Have you never watched a documentary?
I watched it
in your life.
I said biographical. I said this is the most biographical film I ever seen. That's why it's hard to keep up with these names.
Fine.
There's so many people who I guarantee they might have had 2 minutes of screen time, and yet there's probably thousands of books written on these people.
They all probably have their own Wikipedia page.
An extensive Wikipedia
one.
page.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know. Who was the lady that was played by Florence Pugh, his lover in the film?
Jean Tatlock.
Jean Tatlock. I looked her up. Her Wikipedia is huge. I thought it was just gonna be something where it's like, oh yeah, she was the love affair of Oppenheimer and she was part of the Communist Party. No, she has this whole Wikipedia page about her. I'm like, wow, what the hell? How long was she in the movie for? Outside of those scenes with Oppenheimer, she wasn't in it that long.
Probably the most artsy scenes involve Florence Pugh. Yeah, I think her screen time probably totals like maybe 5 minutes at most.
Right.
Give or take.
Right.
Which is not a lot, but it actually is kind of a lot compared to other characters in this film. But yeah, everybody seems to have a Wikipedia page. Like I'm literally on Wikipedia right now. Everybody's colored in blue. There's like probably like two or three things that are not colored in blue. So I'm like, I guess they're not important. But yeah, there's a lot going on in this film. Let's get into it. Okay, so I think I like films like this. I like films that are based on depositions or hearings or trials.
Like She-Hulk.
No, like The Social Network.
Oh.
A very credible film, not She-Hulk. No. You thought of She-Hulk?
Mark,
you thought of She-Hulk watching this movie?
You said deposition, like you like courtroom dramas.
Well, I like courtroom dramas because the way they structure this film is what we're introduced to. We're introduced to Robert Downey Jr. right off rip, Strauss, as he's at a hearing that is Is it for him? It's for him.
What, the one in the room or the one
the black and white? The black and white.
The black and white. You see, I
got you.
I couldn't tell you. I
got you. So it's a hearing for him, right?
The black and white.
In the black and white.
Okay.
And
yeah.
he is seeking to be either the chair. I think he's looking for Senate approval. He's being nominated for Secretary of Commerce. Okay. And so they got to question him. They got to get down to what's going down. He previously, I think the movie does a good job as far as, yes, it's a lot to take in to what's actually going on in this movie. However, if you don't walk away with all the historical facts, I don't think it's a problem. He was once the chair of the United States Atomic Energy Commission, which he served with Oppenheimer, who Oppenheimer has his own thing going on right now. Because during this time period, which is, I think, the 50s and whatnot, there is a giant attack on anyone remotely involved with anything looking like red or communist.
The Red Scare.
The Red Scare. We got the historical backdrop of the Red Scare. And as we know, and for those who don't, go watch The Iron Giant. That's a great film.
Wow, that's what I was thinking of.
It is a fantastic film that talks about the Red Scare in a metaphorical sense. This is more literal. And Strauss is being questioned about his time with Oppenheimer. Oppenheimer, as we learn, and we're gonna peel it back now, he too's they think he's a commie. Is that a good word to say, commie?
It's a commie, yeah.
Can you say that word? Is that
yes,
offensive?
No. Offensive to who? A commie?
I don't want to say that. That sounds like a bad word.
It's the term they use in the film. It's okay.
Would you like to say Negro? I'm sure they said Negro in the film too.
Why would you? Why? For what? Who are you describing with that term? This cast is white. Who are you gonna call that to?
There were a couple of black folks in this movie.
You want to know? I counted one black person, and it was during the scene. Was it it was after they detonated the bomb, and everyone was clapping. It was that one where the theater was like
yes.
like the feet. There was one black person in the audience in that scene, and I'm like, hey, wait, look, there's someone here.
How'd he get in there? Get that boy.
It just stuck out to me because I was just so used to only seeing white people in this movie, like in the audience, in the science room, in the army, in the Senate. It was all white people. You said you saw 2?
I saw 3.
You saw 3? Get out of here. No.
Actually, there's definitely more than 3. I saw, God, we're so off the point right now. I saw that one you're talking about. There was another light-skinned actor too. He had kind of like a flat top going on. And then there was the man that walked with Oppenheimer across the football field. He had dialogue. He took him underneath the football
stadium.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I kind of remember that. He was black?
There was a black man walking, and he was basically leading them. Have no idea his name, the actor's name. Don't know if he was actually playing somebody of significance. He was there though.
Problematic.
Made sure I saw him. Made sure, he's there.
Wow.
I will do my best to try to find his name by the time we're done here. All right. So the movie sets you up. They say we're going to peel back Oppenheimer. Really, the movie's kind of broken into 3 parts. We're going to look at Oppenheimer in his past. Oppenheimer in his days at school. So yeah, that's kind of the first act. So we meet J. Robert Oppenheimer. He's studying at Cambridge. He's great, I guess. He's great, right? He's doing great things. He meets Kenneth Branagh Neil Bohr. That is the Danish physicist that he met right before he stopped his tutor from taking a bite of that apple with cyanide in it.
Which I want to know if that's based off of any historical accuracy. Did he really try to kill his teacher?
I gotta assume that's based on truth.
How did they even? Did he openly say that in an interview? Oppenheimer.
Man,
Oh yes, one time I almost poisoned my teacher with cyanide.
I think he said it in the deposition.
Did he?
Which is something. Yeah, I think he did. Which is wild. He literally tried to kill somebody.
Wow.
I mean, oh my God, he tried to kill somebody. One person versus what he actually does.
To be fair, to apples to oranges.
Apples to oranges, sure. So we learn about Oppenheimer. He's on, I don't know. He's not even worried about building a bomb at this point. He's just living his life as a physicist. He's trying to meet all these great scientists. Heisenberg, he meets Heisenberg.
Someone cooked here.
Stay out of my territory. That was cool. Heisenberg's here again. Like you said, they're dropping names in here like
it's like a cinematic universe.
Sure.
The audience was losing it with Heisenberg. They're like, "Oh my God, that's Heisenberg!" Oh,
I think they forgot that Heisenberg was actually based on a real person.
They did.
The average person hears Heisenberg, they don't think of the German scientist. They think of Walter White. And by season 4,
they can't keep getting away with this.
They will, because by season 4 of Breaking Bad, you forgot to. You're like, that's not my Heisenberg. My Heisenberg wasn't a German scientist. That's my Heisenberg. Meth cook. Drug king.
Both scientists in different fields.
Right. Yes. Right. In their respective fields. Sure. Travels around with David Krumholtz's Isidore Isaac Rabbi. And the film has this undertone of, Robert Oppenheimer, he's Jewish. And I think they explore this some, where he does not like what's going on in Germany with the Holocaust. They are aware. World War II is going on. He is aware. He is not a fan. Not a fan. And I think that plays a pivotal part in Oppenheimer's kind of character or his motivations. Did you pick up on that?
As to,
or am I crazy? This underlined that he's Jewish and he feels heavy resentment towards what's going on during World War II.
I don't feel like that was something throughout the movie that you felt. I mean, I remember the scene that you're talking about where, he has this, I guess, this personal vendetta against the Nazis. But I feel like that didn't really underpin his character throughout the film. Like, I didn't really get a vibe of, even though he's resistant to making this thing, he's like, oh, but we have to kill the Nazis. They are hunting my people. Like, I didn't feel that. I felt other things. I felt like there were other things layered into his character in trying to decide if he should make this thing or not. But that personal vendetta, I didn't feel it outside of that moment where he said it. Which was earlier in the film, which I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm talking earlier, but I will say we'll come back to this because I think it paints an interesting dilemma later on in the film to kind of what's going on. So we get a lot of backstory with Oppenheimer. His brother is in the Communist Party, or whatever version of the Communist Party.
The National Communist Party. I think.
Yes.
I think that's what was. I think that's the official term.
Right. So he's got people who are in the Communist Party. His brother. He has some friends. And then he eventually meets his wife, Kitty Oppenheimer, played by Emily Blunt. I think Emily Blunt did a great job in this film.
Yeah.
For the minimal women roles in this film, Emily Blunt, I think her character, I guess the significant women roles in this film, Emily Blunt and Florence Pugh, two very different characters. It's interesting to watch them interact with Oppenheimer and what's going on. How'd you feel about Emily Blunt this film?
She was fine. I mean, I
the people hate it when we say fine.
No. I think her best scene was when she was getting under that interrogator's skin towards the end of the movie, where they're trying to grill her and she's grilling back. Basically like nitpicking like the way he's structuring his sentences and his grammar.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really good, but I feel like whenever Emily Blunt was about to cook, whether it's Chris Nolan or whoever, they took away, they turned off the power to her stove and say, okay, that's enough of that. We got to get back to Oppie now. Like, and I think there's a scene that we talked about afterwards. It's that scene where he's in the woods crying,
crying over Florence Pugh.
Over Florence Pugh's character, learning about her death. And Emily Blunt comes in and she's like, "Oh, you got to pull yourself together." What was it?
You do not get to sin and have us
and feel sorry for it, or seek forgiveness. What was that? It
right? Something like that. It was a beautiful quote.
It was a nice quote, but I'm like, she just says it, and I feel like it was gonna cook into something, like a very good scene, and then Chris Nolan's like, nope. We got too much to cover. In a 3-hour movie, we have to go back to the main course. And I'm like, oh, well, great. I would have loved to see this scene like really, really cook. But, okay, I get. That's why I'm saying her scenes were fine. Because other than that, like, what else is she doing? Oppenheimer calls her and says, what is it?
Put the sheets up. Put the sheets up or something.
Put the sheets up, and then she just stares ominously, like, "Oh, like
that means we won. It's a success.
We
That's
won.
Our little code.
Yay, Emily Blunt, you did it." I'm two scenes where I loved her in: that quote in the woods and the interrogation. But I felt like both of those scenes, the interrogation was the better of the two, but both those scenes needed more time to cook. I wanted more cooking.
I'm gonna tell you right now that interrogation scene is gonna get her a Best Supporting Actress nomination.
There's no way. There's no way.
I'm telling you right now.
I don't believe it.
I'm sold. Yes, her time is very minimal.
Best Supporting Actress, like
yes, I would not give her a main actress. I don't think she's.
She wouldn't. But
right.
But you think like a Best Supporting Actress nomination?
Yes, absolutely.
For the few scenes that she's in, you think
you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
You know what? No. You recommended my girl Angela Bassett. You're like, oh my God, she did that one scene in Wakanda Forever. You took everything just for that. She deserves a nomination.
She got the nomination.
I know she got the nomination. I'm like, why did she get it? She ate.
Wow.
She ate, but I don't know. I think I need more on the plate for Best Supporting Actress.
I'm gonna tell you right now, if Anthony Hopkins can have 16 minutes of screen time in Silence of the Lambs and walk away with the Best Actor, Emily Blunt.
He has the best scenes. What? The apples to oranges. What are you talking about?
Emily Blunt can walk away at least with a nomination.
Oh my goodness! I guess we hand them out. You get a nomination. You get a nomination. Everyone gets a nomination.
I don't care to give it to Florence Pugh. I don't care to give it to Florence Pugh. Mind you,
problematic.
Mind you, her character, I thought was very interesting. Again, these are real people. I think Florence Pugh acted great. No doubt, but I guess this is a period piece, so we see a lot of characters, especially these women characters, in subservient roles where, you know, their happiness and their well-being is dependent on a man. And you know, coming out of the Barbie movie, you know, we didn't watch this back to back.
Someone in our group watched it back to back.
Yes, Nino Desplazado watched it back to back. It's kind of, I get it as far as, you know, we've come so far, and then we got to remember this is where we came from type of ordeal, you know, where Florence Pugh, you know, Jean Tatlock, her character, sadly, you know, commits suicide because Robert, she was a side piece. Let's just say it. Let's call a spade a spade. That might be mean. They were together at a point, I think.
They were together?
Or maybe not. There's a womanizer. They called him a womanizer. I think Kitty was married. And,
she was married twice. Her first husband
died in the war.
No. That was her second husband. Her first husband, okay. I don't remember what happened. I think they actually divorced, I think. But her second husband was the one that died in the Spanish Civil War when he went off.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, the only really two women in the movie that had pivotal roles, which I'm very surprised there wasn't even a significant scene with the one scientist that was female. The one you thought was just the secretary.
She said she could type. I heard that she could type.
Oh yeah, she was.
I heard that
she was taking in the notes for the scientist.
Lily Hornig, played by Olivia Thirlby. Yes, she was part of the Manhattan Project. Probably gets a minute 30 seconds of screen time.
She gets that scene where she's trying to get into the Los Alamos site, and then the scene where post Germany surrender, she's organizing a union to basically stop the production of the atomic bomb.
There you go.
Those were her. That's where I remember her most. Those two scenes.
I think you remember more than me.
Problematic. Very problematic.
I will say, you know, in the defense of this movie, and you know, this is a movie that, yeah, it's about men stroking men's ego, you know, at the core of it. The women roles are gonna be, yeah, they're gonna be minuscule compared to everything else, and it's a reflection of the time period. Definitely a reflection of the time period. Could they have done more? Of course they could have done more. Should they have done more? If the screen time allowed, because they're already running 2 hours and 53 minutes. So, but it is a fine to critique how small the women have to play in this film. I think it's worth pointing out. They could do better. They could have done better. Let's see what they do next time, you know, and what story they choose to tell. Sure. I enjoyed learning about Oppenheimer's past. They were, I think Christopher Nolan excellently sprinkles kind of what would lead to the eventual quote unquote downfall of him in this first act. Just literally his connections with these people. And we'll see it play out later. Let's move on to the second act. Or unless I'm missing anything in the first act. Am I missing anything?
Nope. I think that pretty much sums it up. I think he meets Einstein as well in the first act.
Yes. Who they've already known each other. Okay, yeah, those Einstein scenes are great. And they're really important.
What?
Oh, I thought you were about to undermine it. Are you undermining the Einstein scenes?
I mean, they were good.
The conversations were great.
I guess.
Oh, come on. The domino effect.
The chain reaction.
The chain reaction.
Yes. It was good. It was good.
Okay. Didn't know this. Einstein is played by Give me 1 second. Einstein is played by Tom Conti. Tom Conti was in another Christopher Nolan film. He was in The Dark Knight Rises.
Wow.
He is the one that fixes Bruce Wayne's back
In the prison?
in the prison. And
Wow.
what are they chanting? It means rise. That guy.
Oh, wow. Disgusting. Moving on.
Moving on. Einstein scenes are pivotal. We'll come back to them. I love the conversation about the chain reactions, setting fire to the sky. Moving on. The second act, I think, is where the film. This is probably where people pay the most attention, right?
Yeah, that's when Matt Damon comes in.
This is when Matt Damon comes in. Mind you, this is Matt Damon's. I just like pointing out these people have been in previous Nolan films. Matt Damon was in Tenet. And I'm sorry, not Tenet. God dang it. Interstellar. Do you remember that he was
that
lost in
space guy that betrayed him, I think?
Yes.
Yeah, I remember
Yes.
that.
This is not Matt Damon's first Nolan outing. They want to bring in Oppenheimer to the Manhattan Project. Josh Hartnett's character, Lawrence, his colleague at I think they're at Berkeley at this point, says it's hard to bring you on to this, Robert, if you keep messing with them damn commies. Like, stop this. Like, we want you on this project, but you got to stop this commie BS. I think he does eventually cut ties with the communists, and Matt Damon's like, all right, we're going to bring you in. If you betray us, I'm going to kill you, essentially. Matt Damon, his character is funny. It's a nice little contrast to Oppenheimer, you know.
I agree.
Okay. Oh,
What?
I don't know. I feel. Is there anything more to say? I thought his back and forth with Oppenheimer, Cillian Murphy was really good. I looked at it more as the if Oppenheimer's the straight man, Matt Damon was more. I don't know. He's just so pressed for, like, you know, we got to make a bomb.
I feel like he was the one that grounded the movie for me, at least, because there's a lot of names, a lot of people, a lot of moving parts. I'm gonna be honest. There were times in the movie where I was lost. I would be like, what are they even doing? Like, I know what they're trying to do, but what are they trying to do right now? What is the problem in this scene? They're just babbling back and forth. But then when Matt Damon comes in, I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's just speaking in his clear as day military jargon or whatever, but he is the most succinct and clear out of all of them. And I feel like once he starts speaking, I'm like, okay, this is what's going on in the movie right here, right now. This is the plot. This is where we are at, and this is where we have to be, and this is what we have to do to get to that spot. And Matt Damon's gonna tell us. But as soon as Matt Damon leaves, I'm like, God damn it, man! I don't know what the heck. What are these scientists talking about?
Actually, you know, that's a good point. I feel Matt Damon, you know, his character, Leslie Groves, yeah, he's like, hey, we gotta get a move on. He's telling this plot, let's get a move on. We need a bomb. Let's keep it going. Y'all over here talking about all these theories and stuff. Can you just make the damn thing? I think that's what his character is here for. So I feel that makes sense when you say he grounds the film. I mean, he's one of the faces that we see the most that has actual dialogue for a good portion of the film. But yeah, this is like the crux of the film. I think it's cool to watch. I mean, it feels like a superhero film at sometimes. Oppenheimer, he starts recruiting other scientists.
Oh, the Avengers.
It was giving X-Men First Class when they were recruiting.
First Class.
When they were recruiting mutants, you know, like you said, he gets Josh Peck, He gets Huey.
And what is Einstein the Wolverine of this mythos, where he tells him to piss off and doesn't join?
You could say that. Yeah, Einstein had some foresight. He wasn't the only one to have foresight. Kenneth Branagh, his character shows up. The dude from Orient Express.
You're asking the wrong person.
Oh, I'm trying to help you. Okay, I'm sorry. But he too was like, "Oh no, Robert, I'm a physicist, not for this." And there goes that kind of moral dilemma going on,
right?
As far as think about what you're doing.
I think the movie did a good job doing that. Really showing that there was this divide between, we want to win the war, we want to stop fascists over in Germany, but I think at the same time they do such a good job really trying to stress the idea that at what cost are you willing to win this war? Because I mean, like the movie doesn't undersell this whatsoever. Oppenheimer's involvement in this changed the world for better or worse up until even today. And I feel like for the foreseeable future, it will continue to have ramifications on what he and his team were able to put together for that war. And it was always with the fear that I really liked scenes like this where you have them trying to rationalize, like, should they keep making a bomb? Should they not keep making a bomb? And then they would say, well, Germany's making a bomb. Oh no,
Germany's 2 years ahead of us.
Germany's 2 years ahead of us. We have to outpace them. And then they would say, well, should we get our Russian allies in on this? And they were like, no, we can't. They are commies. There are allies in the war, but at the end of the day, they're commie pigs, and we can't work with them.
I thought that was so great.
I liked that. I liked the tug of war. It was a tug of war. They couldn't really decide which was the side of rationality to be on, because both sides make sense. And it's like a damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because even with the Russian side, I think there was to a point where they almost believed that they weren't making a nuclear weapon, like Russia was not. But then the conversation turns to, okay, but if they're not making a nuclear weapon, shouldn't we make one then to make sure that they're kept in their place? I'm like, oh my God. Like, and I mean, to a degree, I mean, for their own national security in the context of that movie, I get it. Because it's like,
oh yeah.
These people are just doing in their minds what they think is the safest thing to do for their national security, because they know the great power of what they're working with, and the ultimate fear is other people might have this too. The Russians might have this. The Germans might have this, or they might be building up to it, and we gotta beat them. We gotta beat them to it. And I mean, obviously it culminates into the finale of the film, but that was one element that I thought was genius throughout the entire film. It was that tug of war between what was right, what was wrong, what's really motivating them to keep making this nuclear weapon or this atomic weapon. So I thought those scenes were great. I thought those were fantastic.
Yeah, I think the second act really comes alive for all the things that you said. I think the scientists, again, there's such as you said, like a tug of war, back and forth. Some of them are excited just for theories being proven correct. Some of them are, they're pessimistic about, the lives they might go ahead and destroy. And then some of them are just like, we did not become scientists for this. And I think that was such a great way to play with the audience as well. Because again, it's like, and we came out of the theater talking about this, like, were we rooting for Oppenheimer? I mean, we already know the ending of what happens here. And it's like, should we be rooting for countless death? You know? And I like movies that make you question the moral line, the gray line, you know? And it's interesting, if you try to put yourselves in their shoes, it's going to suck. It's a rock and a hard place. Yeah, it's crazy to think, what could have been going on through that. So I think, yes, the second act does a great job. I would like to point out the shaky cam effects that goes on with Oppenheimer a couple of times in the film.
Oh, where like it's vibrating, like the vibrations.
Yeah, and I feel it's supposed to give kind of like this ticking time bomb type of view in his head. You know, it's like, and then it's also like, it's going to explode. One day it's going to explode. Everything you're doing, the culminations of your actions are going to explode on you at some point. I think, I don't know. Christopher Nolan I think he did a really good job just getting that across to the audience. And that comes alive in the second act. We get the bomb. This was a real explosion.
Yes. Practical effects. Practical effects to the degree of it was an explosion. It's not an atomic bomb. I think Christopher Nolan had a tongue-in-cheek interview where he's like, while I am flattered that people thought I would go that far for practicality, that is honestly concerning that people would even believe it. But yes, practical explosion, I guess. I mean, it was a great buildup. You felt
great buildup. Yeah,
I feel like the film, like, in an IMAX theater, especially a movie about Oppenheimer, that the buildup is culminating to some type of explosion that you're gonna feel and rock your socks off in an IMAX theater, filmed by Christopher Nolan. I felt like that countdown for that scene was really good.
Absolutely.
Because there was that tension where it's like...
It was the climax.
It was the climax, yeah. It was like, oh my God, when is it going to go off? Is it going to go off like at 0? Is something going to happen? Is it going to work? Is it going to be silent? What's going to happen? And I think what it gets to 0, and then you just see the flash, and you're like, oh, okay, it's going to be one of these scenes where the explosion, like, it was building you up to something, but it's just quiet. It's like, oh, okay, it's just quiet. Boom! And then it shakes you. I'm like, wow, that almost gave me a heart attack.
Well, I think the score comes in too and starts playing music too, as if it makes the audience think, wow, how beautiful this is. The fusion of an atom. I think that's what it was. An atom bomb is fusion going on.
Oh, don't ask me.
Okay. All right, sure.
I'm not the person.
But then then the sound kicks back in, or I think it's dead silent, like you said. It's like dead silent. I want to go back and actually rewatch that scene. Then boom, because light travels faster than sound. And that shit was loud. And I think it happens 2 more times in the film, and they're not even related to an explosion. And they scared the shit out of me every time. I definitely jumped every time.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, very well done. And this is why I said we'll come back to this. There were times during this film where I feel when it comes to the sound quality, it was hard to hear what they were saying, because I think he was going for that practical. This is the practical idea that he went for in Tenet. But Tenet being an action film, you really couldn't hear anything over the action, or the gunshots and explosions were too damn loud.
Oh, I think I remember you saying that. You said like, yeah. I remember about the gunshots.
This was better. This was much better experience, because he still kind of learned from what he did in Tenet and did it better, to where we can still make out the dialogue despite the fact that we can hear the wind blowing in the background. You know, in Tenet, it was impossible. If you didn't have captions, to this day, I could not tell you what conversations went on in Tenet.
Wow.
They did better here. Yeah.
You never rewatched it again.
At key scenes, not every scene. But yeah. And I don't know how it sounds at home either. So yeah. There's that.
Wow.
Right. We get the explosion. We get this beautiful scene with Oppenheimer in front of the crowd, and he's really thinking about the ramifications of his actions. That scene's probably going to get talked about for years to come. The stomping, and
the
cheering,
the bleachers.
Yes. Yeah. That scene's probably going to get this movie a lot of praise. Well, wish we did it to the Germans first.
Oh yeah, and then like when they would cheer, but it would be like deafening silence to him.
Yes.
Yeah. No, that scene was really good. I definitely enjoyed it. That one got a jump scare out of me because I think
there was one there.
It was silent and like someone grabbed him from the back or something, and them grabbing him was like mimicking another explosion, like boom, and then all the sound came rushing in with everyone stomping or clapping.
Right. Yep.
And I'm like, Jesus Christ, can we get out of this room, please? This room is so stressful.
How you think he felt? I think that was the whole point.
The weight of the world. You know what? Yeah, that was a good way to make me feel for him. That was a lot. A lot.
Just what should be everybody celebrating, what should be a celebration. Mind you, the army came in. It was very interesting to watch the army come in so quick and be like, "Oh, it works. All right, we're dropping this thing."
That's ours.
Yeah,
we're dropping both.
How many more you got? 2. Awesome. Thank you. Where do you think we should drop it?
Oh yeah.
Nagasaki?
He asked them where to drop it. He's like, well, my calculations tell me these 2 locations, but those are just calculations. That doesn't mean to drop them there. Okay, you bet.
Very interesting seeing that one too. Yeah, just again, like, I think this film makes you question. I'm like, I don't think I was ever cheering for the creation of this bomb. I knew it was going to happen, but I also knew what the effect would be. And I like films that make you kind of play this game where it's like, I get it. I know why they're cheering. But then again, and we mentioned this earlier, Hitler was already dead at that point.
Right. No, and I liked that element because that was something I didn't even know. I
didn't know that either. I did not know that either.
I didn't know that the atomic bomb wasn't even completed yet until Hitler's death, and it still wasn't done. And so then the rationale is, well, Hitler's dead, Germany is falling. And really the only Axis power that's left, or at least one of the bigger ones that's left, is Japan. And Japan at some point is going to surrender. But then it again comes to that balancing act. It's like, okay, I mean, you're assuming it's going to surrender, but what if they don't? What if they keep going? If they keep going, that's more soldiers, more boots on the ground that we're going to have, and those people are going to die. How many lives are you willing to trade off instead of just building this thing that could probably just end it right there? It's a balancing act where both choices are terrible.
Yes.
There's not a correct answer. They just chose the one that they said, Jesus, this might be the best option. I don't know. It might be the best option. Drop it.
Like
boom.
It was really like, they're like, can y'all just pick? We don't want to. We did what you wanted.
The science is like I think they even grilled him for it in the interview.
In the deposition.
In the deposition. They were really telling him like, so wait a minute, you didn't make these recommendations knowing that we would probably drop them on here. And it's that tension, because that scene was even stressful too. That scene where
that was another great kind of build up in his head. Like,
yes,
the stress it was a ticking time bomb.
The lights flashing like the atomic bomb that went off. I thought that scene
I didn't even think about it like
you didn't think that was the one scene where it was flashing like that.
Wow, I did not think about it like that. That makes perfect sense.
It was like, that scene was so good because it made me feel the stress of what this person was very likely going through at this point in time and trying to figure out, like, why did you do this? And he's trying to rationalize it, and it's like, I get it, but why did you do this?
Which is also wild too, because this is exactly what they wanted him to do, and now they were trying to flip it on him, because they were basically trying to say, if you make these calculations about Japan when we wanted you to, and you're a potential communist, you're ready to probably say, oh yeah, New York would be a great target. I don't know, DC, Boston, you know, McCarthyism and all this fear is
McCarthyism.
It's
I
such a
haven't
wild
heard that
time.
in years.
I think they mentioned McCarthy in the film, maybe once they name dropped it. But it's crazy. It's crazy. Such a wild and like fearful time. You know? And I think that scene that you mentioned, which Jason Clarke, that is the guy playing the prosecutor. You might have recognized him from
he looked familiar.
The second Planet of the Apes films.
Yep. I remember him. Yes. He was the general, right? Or not the general, but like the guy that was leading the military force.
He befriended Caesar.
He befriended
in the second
them.
one.
Okay.
Yeah, he befriended Caesar. Funny enough, no, the guy you're thinking of is Gary Oldman.
The one that actually tried killing them.
And Sirius Black, we all know Gary Oldman. He's in this movie too.
Gary Oldman?
He is in this movie.
Who's he play? I mean, one of the old people, I guess.
Oh, yeah, he's in heavy makeup. Get that crybaby out of my office.
Oh, he was Truman?
He was Truman.
Wow. Honestly, that thing was a little unsettling too.
Oh my God, absolutely.
That was like you have this demeanor of like one of the presidents where it's like so polite and so welcoming at first, and then Oppenheimer like expresses his concerns, and honestly it felt like a clown, you know, like a clown is like supposed to be like this supposed welcoming, friendly, silly face that you can, you know, be silly with, but everyone knows, like, if you spend any time with a clown, they're scary as hell.
Oh, sure, yeah.
To me, this was almost like a clown, I guess in a literal sense, and a metaphorical sense, in that welcoming presence. But then when he expresses his concerns, you have that chilling, like, lean in the chair, and he's like, what does he say? He's like, you think you're self-important? I'm the one that dropped the bomb, not you.
Right.
The blame will come to me.
They said, you think they care about who made it? No,
yes.
They care about who dropped it.
Yes. And then
and he took pride in that.
He was happy. He was happy about it.
And then he made that terrible joke too. He's like, I'm glad you didn't drop it on Kyoto.
The tissue.
Wait, what's the tissue?
He took out a tissue and was like waving it in front of him because he thought he was gonna cry.
Was that?
What did you take it as?
Symbolizing, I'm gonna drop bombs until they wave that white flag.
I mean, I guess it could be both. I think it's the tear thing because of what followed up after that. Because he says,
"Get that crybaby. Don't let that crybaby in my office ever again," or something.
It makes me was
That's a real quote. That's a real quote.
That's a real quote.
That's a real.
Who'd he say that to?
Truman said that to Oppenheimer, or whoever was in the office, which I imagine was. That is a real quote.
But it's a real quote taken from like the same context, like
yeah.
So in real life, Oppenheimer came to Truman's office. He expressed his concern, and Truman responded saying, "Get this crybaby out of my office."
Yes.
No way. No.
Look it up.
Google it.
Real. It's real.
That's insane.
Correct.
That I
Correct.
thought that was just I thought that was the fun of historical fiction. I thought that they were just having fun with it.
That is a real quote, and I think even how he delivers it, I was like, that feels real. There's no way they wrote that. Like, because if you write that, if you say, "Oh,
you're making an accusation at that point."
Exactly.
Because that's his only scene. That's his only scene in the movie.
That's his only scene, right? So it's like, are we gonna like smite the Truman name by making him say this? But no, he said that.
Wow.
Which is wild. Yeah.
That's yeah. I'm honestly speechless.
Yeah. Don't meet your heroes.
Don't meet your heroes. You see what I mean by the welcoming demeanor, man? It's a 180. It's a complete.
It was a
180.
rug pull. It was a complete rug pull.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Another great scene. Oh my gosh. From this point on, we get the rest of the deposition, which was a plenty of back and forth. We get many people attesting to Oppenheimer is not a communist. There was a communist within the Manhattan Project, the British guy. I think that's what led to this whole ordeal.
Correct.
That's why he was under fire. We get many great scenes with people speaking on behalf of Oppenheimer. Matt Damon had a great moment sticking up for him and whatnot. As we said, Emily Blunt, she cooked in her bit, that bit right there. She had some other bits too. Leave it alone. I guess the biggest thing as far as the ending goes is Rami Malek. Rami Malek's moment is Best Actor Academy Award winner Rami Malek.
I am aware.
Who I didn't think his character had any significance. I was waiting for his character to be significant. Comes out and says Strauss is bad. This is all Strauss doing.
Rabble. Now they all come after Strauss.
Now I looked this up before we did this pod. And God, I wish you had watched Hamilton. Strauss is another villain, quote unquote, in history. And what I mean is what Strauss did to Oppenheimer, which is basically, pull strings to have the deposition go in his favor, get Oppenheimer to lose his security clearance with the USA and not be allowed to, I guess, do whatever. I'm not entirely sure. When they outed Strauss, history has now painted a picture to where, they give you his biography and then they always end it with this moment, and where he's denied Secretary of Commerce. Because what he did to Oppenheimer was so bad in history, he is now the villain. And let me tell you, Robert Downey Jr., best supporting actor. Give it to him.
You know what? For him, yes. I could see it for him.
Yeah, absolutely. Long time coming. I think this is it.
Not for Iron Man.
No. Not for Iron Man.
Wow. So you were not an advocate for the Infinity Gauntlet snap when Disney
it wasn't nominated. I think it should have been. It wasn't.
Oh, you did? Oh my God. This was sarcasm. I swear to God.
Oh, well, actually, there was a campaign to get Robert Downey Jr. nominated for Endgame.
I am aware, and I was jokingly bringing your involvement in. I did not think you would admit to it.
You're mean. That scene was really good. Him going back and forth with Alden and Eric. That was really good. Ultimately, Oppenheimer. I forget how they ended the quote with Einstein. They go back to that Einstein scene, which is really the scene that set Strauss up to be on this vendetta against Oppenheimer. He's like, what did he say to Albert Einstein?
He didn't look at me.
Why won't he look at me? Like, Relax, dude. The man was just walking back to his room.
It's another man. I don't know why you want him to look at you.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
Unless.
But oh man, I wish I could remember what Einstein said. Something about,
I thought it was a chain reaction quote.
Well, it was one part. No, the chain reaction was when they first were walking in the forest. This was at the pond.
At the pond. Okay.
This is at the pond where the hat blew
off.
The hat blows off, which is an interesting choice, but very cinematic moment. The hat blowing off. I forget. Fine, I won't use that quote. It's a wonderful quote that I think summarizes the movie, and then we basically get the shots of kind of what Albert did and Oppenheimer as a topple effect of the domino, what that led to.
Oh, was it now it's your turn to deal with the consequences of your achievement?
There it is. There it is. And we get the scenes of the nuclear warheads. I think that's how we close off the film. There's also some really great imagery throughout the film regarding like ripples from the rain, and that's supposed to symbolize the nukes hitting and touching down.
Oh yeah, the ripple stuff. Okay.
We get a lot of the chain reaction moments that were also really scary, as they'll make you jump at times if you're not ready for them. I think it perfectly just sums up the movie. Is that again, as you said, it's like for better or worse, what Oppenheimer did changed the world. There's also a quote in the beginning of the movie that I really like, the Prometheus quote.
Oh, wait, which one? I am become death, but that's not Prometheus.
Oh, no, that's not Prometheus. You're right. That's not Prometheus.
So which one are you? That's from the Hindu, right?
That's from the Hindu one.
Which caused problems in
problems. Yes,
in where India?
In India, one they put they covered up Florence Pugh first of all.
Oh yeah, they CGI'd a black dress. For her scenes,
and I think it's the
scenes.
only CGI used in the film.
Right, no practical effects.
You're right. And then they took offense to that quote, because it's not the whole quote or something. It was transcribed wrong. They're not. Well, happy.
I think they had a problem. God, it was very specific where they had a problem with it. I think it was oh my god. I think it was because he said it after or during his scene with Florence Pugh, when they were like, having sex. I'm trying to see. Oh my, I literally had it. I literally looked it up earlier. I'm like, oh wow, that's what they had a problem with? God damn.
They're not happy, Bob.
It was the audio from the scene where Tatlock directs Oppenheimer to read a verse. It was that scene where she said, read it. Read it.
Right.
The Hindu scripture, the and I may butcher this, the Bhagavad Gita. I am become death, destroyer of worlds, while having intercourse when he said it.
So they didn't like the intercourse part.
Yes. It was that mixed in with citing Hindu scripture while you're doing these acts, and I guess they're like, no, you can't do this.
I get it. I think I understand why they're a little bit upset. I think it's fair.
But I'm
not Hindu, so they have every right to be upset if they are.
So yeah, that's what it was. But I did like that quote. That phrase, and then what was the other one? I just said
the Prometheus quote. This was used in the beginning. Prometheus stole fire from the gods and gave it to man.
Right.
For this, he was chained to a rock and tortured for eternity.
Beautiful.
Absolutely, beautifully sums up this film.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
It's very much poetry. I don't think I think Robert Oppenheimer did not have a moment of peace during his sleep for his years to come.
Yeah, no, there's no way he did. I mean, it's very accurate to call him. I think even the book, right? It's called American Prometheus.
American Prometheus. Yeah.
He literally is. For better or worse.
Yep.
Some would say worse, and I understand.
I understand too. Yeah.
He gave the metaphorical fire to man, and it changed the world forever. And I could appreciate this movie for, like, just on that alone. I feel like it really did a good job really emphasizing the change the world went into with the creation of what Oppenheimer and his team contributed to. It was fantastic. It was fantastic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Even if, again, there are like we said, there's so many real life figures in this film. I feel you get enough to have an idea of what role they might have played, and just everybody's contribution to this story either highlights, the faults of the creation of this bomb, or it seeks to highlight just how intricate of an idea this was, that it took all these people to play some sort of role to bring about the countless deaths that we would see in the years to come. And I think it's a perfect film.
Wow.
I'm gonna say that.
Problematic.
I'm gonna say that. I think it's a perfect film. I think it's a perfect film.
Well, I mean, we're at this stage of talking about the movie. It's time for your Nolan fanatic ranking. You don't got to go from top to bottom.
I'm not. I'm just gonna do my
do
top
top
three.
5. No, 5.
Top.
Actually, no. It will be more controversial if you do top 3, because if you do top 3, whatever's not in your top 3, people will come for you and say,
They can come for me.
goddamn, where does he put this movie then? If it's not in his top 3.
They can come for me. Oh, you're right. Keep them guessing.
Right, because I mentioned I would think at some point in the future, maybe there will be a Nolan pod. Maybe.
We got to catch up on some of these films. I got to watch Following, Memento, Insomnia, and that's it. Those are the 3 I need to watch. So literally his earlier work.
So top 3, go. Start some controversy, because I know you got a hot take on this.
All right, I'm talking about my overall theatrical experiences here.
Start from 3 at the bottom.
Okay.
To the top.
I think number 3 for me is Inception.
Okay.
Another perfect film. I think these are perfect films. Number 2 is Oppenheimer.
Oh, number 2.
Yes.
Wow, that went down one.
No, a little. I'm thinking purely my theatrical experience from a storytelling standpoint, visuals, sound, everything. That's kind of how I'm looking at this. And then the number 1, I would have to say, is The Dark Knight.
Interesting.
That is what. Now, mind you, here's a hot take. I may have put Dark Knight as my number 1 Christopher Nolan film. It is not my favorite Batman film. I think Batman Begins is a better Batman film than The Dark Knight.
So why do you have it as your number 1 Nolan film?
Because I think just as a creative, Nolan did such a fantastic job. Also as character pieces, I think the Joker is wonderful. But I think the sleeper of that film is actually Harvey Dent and Aaron Eckhart as Two-Face. Without that twist in that film, it probably goes down.
Interesting.
Honorable mention that I've been debating should have been in the top 3 is The Prestige.
But it didn't make it. So
no, it probably makes top 5. I'll probably give it number 4.
Interesting.
And yeah,
I don't know what that is. I don't.
Oh, you don't know what that is?
I didn't watch that movie.
Wow. Listen, go watch The Prestige. The Prestige is so good.
I'll consider it.
All right. So what out of the ones you have seen?
Out of the ones I've seen, oh my god. I mean, I've seen these movies once.
I mean, people are already mad that we haven't seen Memento, which I think people will argue that might be his best.
Really? When was Memento?
2002. I'm
wow,
sorry, 2001.
that's
2001.
Batman. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah, pre-Batman, right.
Oh my god. God damn. I mean, this one's probably at number 3. I'll do top 3. Oppenheimer, number 3. Dark Knight, number 2. And Inception, number 1.
Wow, you got Inception as number 1.
I think it was probably the most creative. For me, like, even though I like this movie, you know, maybe I should knock it down a little bit. Oppenheimer. In my opinion, I think Christopher Nolan works best in his, in like a field of fiction where he gets to write everything about the characters, where the story goes, and everything. Like what we said earlier, this is like his first, his first biographical
first
film.
biographical, yep.
And I feel like to an extent, you're a little more limited on the creative side because history is already written for, the story's already written for you.
It is all about presentation.
You have to present it in a way that will keep the audience engaged. And I was engaged. I was into the movie, but like I said, I felt the 3 hours. At the 1 hour mark, I was checking the time, and I was like, "Oh my god, here we go."
Well,
I did not do that. I did not do that for films like Inception. I did not do that for Dark Knight. From the films that I've seen from Christopher Nolan, I have not done that for any of them, and they were long movies. They are all above, for the most part, 2 hours and some change. So I mean, oh man, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't even break top 3. Maybe it's
Oppenheimer doesn't break top 3.
The more I'm thinking about it, I'm thinking it doesn't break.
You gotta fill that number 3 spot then.
Oh my god, man. I don't even remember these movies, man.
Which one? Just pick one. You gotta pick one.
Dark Knight Rises. There, number 3.
Wow.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Oh my god. They're coming for you. You think they're coming for me? They're coming for you.
They are not coming for me, Grandmaster Hope. Quotable.
Was that
Come
Bane?
on. Yes.
Oh, goodness.
That was a good Bane.
I guess. All right. Okay. We're at this part of the pod too. This is the Barbenheimer weekend. I know you already said it earlier. Maybe after our conversation, it might change. Mind you, for those listening, y'all should go listen to our Barbie podcast. Hear our thoughts on the Barbie movie. Where do you put this? Barbie or Oppenheimer? Mind you, this was, I think, the greatest movie weekend, I think, in the post-pandemic world.
Wow.
For 2 movies, I think. I'm pretty sure I read that correctly. With Barbie having the highest grossing domestic release this year. And then Oppenheimer is followed so closely. Like, people literally double featured these movies. Or they did it what we did, which is phenomenal.
Yeah. There was nothing where I believe one film really overshadowed the other when it comes to pulling an audience. I feel like they both attracted the audience they were meant to attract. Both theaters were packed, at least where we went. Barbie was packed. Oppenheimer was packed. They're making the money. I think Barbie already made its money back. Barbie already made his money back. I think Oppenheimer...
It's going to make hella more. Yeah.
Oppenheimer 2 already made its money back because Oppenheimer, surprisingly, is only... And I say only loosely because we're just so used to living in this post
250
MCU
mil budget.
Yes, post MCU film where like you gotta have bigger budget, bigger explosions, CGI. The budget on this film is only like 90 to 100 million.
100 mil, yeah.
100 mil, like, I mean, again, that is a lot of money, but compared to most blockbusters, like, you know, your Barbie, your what's that other film, Mission Impossible, your Flash, Transformers, like these are big budgeted films. This one is, for the most part, pretty simple. It's a pretty, and it's crazy when you think about that. Like, oh yeah, 100 mil, that's on the cheap side for film production.
I remember a time where 100 mil was a lot.
I remember back in my day.
It's crazy because honestly, not even that long ago.
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Right.
But yeah, no, this is really a great summer for films in general. I mean, my God, we had Spider-Man, we had Mission Impossible. Whether you like it or not, Mission Impossible.
We didn't have a pod on it. Come back for our mid-year review. There
was a lot of fun. I mean, we're probably not going to get another film that's exciting to watch outside of maybe I don't know, Ninja Turtles.
We're dwindling. Yeah, this was it. This was kind of the peak. I think we're gonna dwindle from here on out.
Right. Oh, is that kind of like the explosion?
This is the aftermath. Yes.
This is the aftermath.
They served us these 2 giant helpings of quality films back like in the same weekend. From here on out, you're either gonna be really full, or you're gonna really try to muster the next bite.
Right.
So, or you might just stop. Yeah, you might just be too full.
Potentially.
Right. So what a weekend. Goodness. Barbenheimer. Is that it for Oppenheimer? Is that it for us?
I think that's it. Great movie. Go watch it. Be warned, it's 3 hours. It might not be for everyone. I'll say that. Hey, and you know what? No. Now it is for sure not in my top 3. No, let me go back. It is not in my top 3 because I could recommend practically any of Nolan's films without having to worry about, oh well, be careful. It's 3 hours. You might not like. No, this one I feel like I have to warn people. Be cautious. It is 3 hours. And it's no Inception, it's no Dark Knight, it's no Tenet. It's no Tenet. Yeah, just forewarned.
Are you done?
Is that a quote?
It's a quote and a question. Are you done?
Get in the box, you Jezebel.
Listen, folks, yes. Oppenheimer is out now. Do what you will after listening to our podcast. Again, I hope if you already watched the movie before listening to our podcast, we did fairly well, not speaking too much of the film. It's an experience, okay? An experience you should go view for yourself. We definitely recommend IMAX for sure before video release. So do what you will. Oppenheimer, Christopher Nolan, the 12th film. But that's it from us here at the Yonko Table. Thank you for listening on your various podcast stations, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and wherever you get your podcast listening stations. Thank you again for all the support via social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. And again, thank you for the continued support on YouTube and Twitch, following Dr. Jace and his many adventures on the consoles. Go check out his Final Fantasy 16 work. It's pretty good. Final Fantasy 16 deep dive coming soon. So be on the watch out. And of course, if you ever want to discuss with us anything that you've heard on the show, please join the link below and join our Discord. We'll be happy to have a conversation with you, talking about the greatness of this film or the lack of. But with that said, that's it from us. I am your host, Grandmaster Hoop. fellow Yonko, Dr. Jace Attorney. All right, how should we close this out? Use hydrogen.
My God. Hydrogen bomb. Smash atom. Atom go boom.
That is not. Did he say that?
Yeah, the fact that you're even asking it is a problem. This movie's not top 3. Done.